So I wanted to make a video regarding my thought process for solving exercises on chess.com. So first of all, I think the exercises on chess.com are very difficult. So they offer a great challenge that requires deep concentration, which I think will really help me or you in a classical game. So some other websites also have great tactical exercises, but I like the system that chess.com has, because even if you spend a lot of time on an exercise, if you get it right, you can still gain rating points. And so I find that it's helping in creating good habits. And what I mean by that is that it tries to make you see the whole solution before you move. You don't just take a 50-50 gamble and hope that you gain a lot of rating points. It's true that you can gain more rating points if you get the solution quicker, but I think it's better to focus on really seeing the whole solution before you move and making a good habit out of that. And so yeah, like I said, there are many different ways to think when calculating, and so there's no really right or wrong there, but maybe it will be helpful for you if I share my own thoughts. At least that's why I made this video. So I'm just gonna share my thoughts with you while I'm solving exercises. Or I think I'm only gonna solve one exercise in this video since they are so difficult. Anyway, there are 6 steps that I use in my method, which I encourage you to try. And the first step is to always calculate the material. So there are some players that they just look for instant mates or checks immediately before. That's like the first thing that happens in their mind, but and sometimes that works. Like if you have a mate in 2, then it doesn't really make sense to think about anything else. But also very often they see a nice combination to win a piece or something, and then they just execute it. But they fail to notice that there were actually more than that which they won down from the beginning of the position. Let's say they won a rook, but they were actually down a queen, and so I think it's always useful to make a good habit out of properly counting the pieces. And after you have done that, or after I have done that, I like to look at the activity of the pieces, like where are they pointing, where is the action happening, and that instantly, in combination with having counted the pieces, that leads me to a few candidate moves. Hopefully at least 3 candidate moves, but sometimes less, sometimes more. The exercises on chess.com are really sometimes insanely difficult. There are like maybe sometimes there are 10 different candidate moves that I would consider. But then I think the key there is to listen to your intuition and try to go and try to look at the most progressive ideas first. So if there's a forcing sequence, then it makes sense to look at that first, so it might save you a lot of time. And even if you look at lines and you don't find a solution, you often notice key ideas that can be helpful in your other candidate lines. So, but now comes the important part. After having picked a candidate, I think it's important that you try to finish that one line and you look at it deeply before you jump to the other candidate. And I have to admit that very often I jump between those candidate moves, but I still think there is value in trying to look at the line properly first. Let's say you're looking for something in your house and you suspect it's in the shelf, and you take a quick look, but you don't find what you're looking for, so you go somewhere else. At the end of the day, after you have looked through your entire house, you go back to the shelf and oh, there it was. You just didn't look properly at first. And I think that's the same with calculations. So I think it's good trying to create that habit of looking properly at first. So yeah, after hopefully well, okay, first I calculate it, but how precisely, I mean, how exactly do I calculate it? Well, here I basically just look for patterns. Maybe I have to, sometimes I look for 5 minutes, just basically staring at the board, looking at relevant ideas, and then I try to put it together, and hopefully that leads me to the solution. And that I understand that requires deep. You have to be able to visualize the positions quite far there, and this is where I think maybe the biggest difference in weaker and stronger players lies, their ability to see far and to keep track of all the different candidate moves. And but that on the other hand, that just requires practice. So so hopefully that will lead me to the solution. But here comes step number 6, that you have to double check your lines, and that's much more difficult than it sounds, because there's a part of us that really just wants to, find a brilliant idea and then just win easily. But finding your opponent's idea is not nearly as much as fun, which is why I really like what Jonathan Rosen wrote in his book Chess for Zebras, namely that you should ask yourself the question, why doesn't it work, rather than why it works. That's a good way to trick your brain into putting it at least into putting a little bit more effort into it at least. So enough talk. Let's try to see how it works in practice. And I have to say that I don't really have big expectations of myself today, since I played a tournament this weekend. Still a little bit tired from that, but anyway, I want to take you through how it works for me in practice. Yeah, there may be a better way, but this is how I do it, and this is what I have found to work the best for me. So first thing first, what is the material? Looks like white is a pawn down, and he has 2 minor pieces for the exchange, or for the rooks. So looks like it's quite bad materially, but not that bad. It could be enough to win a piece in this situation. Now the activity of my pieces are clearly pointing towards white's king here. Also, I notice immediately that my own king is kind of weak here, since white's pieces can easily get to my king here. So I think, well, that leads me to the candidate moves, right? So here I'm starting to now look at checks. Rook e3 check, Queen e3 check. At least those 2 moves I have to calculate later on, but first I want to see if there are any quiet candidate moves here, and that would give me a sense of like how bad the position is if I don't really do anything quickly. So let's say I also have a candidate move like Rook e7 here. How bad is it? Can white mate me immediately? First glance looks like he can't, so that gives me a feeling of the pace needed in this position. So but anyway, it's better to look at the most progressive ideas first. So okay, Rook e3 check. That's my intuition tells me that this is the move that I should look at first. Looks like also logically speaking, looks like the most forcing move here, since white can't move his queen in between, unlike if I had checked with my queen on e3. So Rook e3 check, King f4 or King h4. Only 2 options there. Let's look at maybe the worst looking one at first, only to that could help you, or that helps me a lot of the time to determine whether I have any hopes at all here. Let's say I look at the worst line and it doesn't even work. That's a really bad sign. So Rook e3, King h4. How can I continue? Queen f2 check or Queen e1 check. Queen f2 check seems more logical, since my queen has more mobility there. White has only 2 moves, g3 and Queen g3. Queen g3 doesn't make any sense since it's mate and he blunders the queen. So, and yeah, king g5. I think king g5 is just mate after queen f6. So I'm only left with g3, and then can I continue? I have queen f6 check there. Queen g5. No, white has only one move. Queen g5, and there I have two. I have two candidates: queen takes g5 or queen d4 check. Like I said in the beginning, I'm open towards trading queens if I can win some, like let's say win a piece or a lot of material. So is that the case here? Queen g5. I would rather look for mating ideas at first. So queen d4 check, queen g4. Now I have also, there's the possibility of queen d8 check there. It's kind of hard to keep track of all the lines, but let's say yeah. So I think I mentioned g5 check and queen d8 check as two candidates in that position, as well as what was it? Queen takes g5. Wait, where am I? This is it's quite hard to talk while you're doing this, but nonetheless, I will try. And I think it's worth pointing out that a lot of the time, after I have made a conclusion about the line, I go back from the start and I get to the position, yeah, from the beginning once again. So rook e3 check, king h4, queen f2 check, g3, queen f6 check, forcing queen g5. Now queen d4 check, and now it was a good thing that I went through it again, because now I noticed that white can actually play bishop g4 there, leaving me with no more checking ideas. Rook e3, king h4, queen f2, g3, queen f6, queen g5. So maybe queen d4 is a bad idea there. So queen takes g5, king takes g5, rook takes g3 check. Here he can come in between with his bishop, seems to make sense. And rook takes d3, greedily collecting material. I noticed that I can possibly win the a2 pawn with my rook as well. But I'm a bit worried that I'll never win his b3 pawn in that endgame, since his light squared bishop can easily protect it, and the pawn on b6 is hanging, so all in all it doesn't seem that promising. So I think I have spent enough time looking at that line now. So rook d3, king h4, here I check queen f2 check, g3. Was there any other alternative here? Yes, there is. There is always the possibility of playing g5 check, and if he plays king takes g5, I have rook takes g3 winning the queen, and queen takes g5 doesn't help me, but that gave me a new idea. Let's say I played, oh no, the problem is I was thinking about rook takes g3 after g3, followed up by g5, but the problem is that white can take back on g3 with check. So, but those g5 ideas seem very interesting to me. And you know, the funny thing is that now, after having looked at those lines, suddenly a new candidate move appears to me in the initial starting position, which is 1 g5. I got a little bit too excited about that one probably, but you know, this is how it goes. Suddenly you notice an idea, and then you have to start over again from scratch. But this g5 move, I feel like it's definitely a very powerful resource for black here. So let's see if I can find a tricky way to include that in the position. So now I think I'm just going to have to concentrate a little bit. I'm mainly looking through all the lines that I talked about again, but this time with a slightly more concentration. I can't really see how it works. So it could be that I have overlooked something, but at this point I would start to look at my other candidates, and maybe I'll find one or two ideas there that I can use in my main line. But anyway, rook e3, king h4. There was also queen e1 check, but I don't see how that helps black at all. Rather than queen f2, since the e4 square is always protected by this d3 pawn. So okay, let's look at queen e3 check, queen f3. Well, immediately gives me bad vibes, I guess, since there are just so many pieces that can come in between, and white has so many options. So I don't really want to even look at that. Let's say queen e3, queen f3, queen e5, check, queen f4, rook e3, check, bishop f3. Seems to get me nowhere. Queen e3 check, queen f3, queen g5 check, bishop g4. Also after queen e3, I have a perpetual maybe after king h2, but hold on a minute. Queen e3 check, king h2, queen e5 check. Walking between with the queen is impossible because of rook h1, and g3 weakens his king considerably. Like I said in the beginning, I have time for some slow moves possibly. Rook. His only threat is queen f4, so I'm trying to look at a useful move that can increase my attacking chances, which is rook f1 there, threatening rook f2 and preventing queen f4. Looks very promising, so maybe there is some hope for this queen e3 check. Queen e3 check, let's say king h4. I don't think g5 helps anything there. So queen e7 check. Let's say queen g5. Yeah, no, I don't. I have lost faith in queen e3 already. So at the beginning I said that, or it was useful to see what white's threats were here, so in order to get a feeling of the pace of the position. Let's say I just play a slow move here. Rook f1. I'm threatening queen f2 mate. No, sorry, it's not mate. I'm actually only, maybe I'm threatening a perpetual. Doesn't seem great. During my calculation I also found this g5 idea, but if I play it immediately, queen takes g5, and did I not just lose my important resource now? Rook e3 check, bishop f3. Doesn't make that move order doesn't make sense to me. I have a vague suspicion that I've had this exercise before, and that's how it is for me a lot of the time, but yeah, I tend to get the exercises wrong at least 2 times before I remember them. Yeah, that's not a really good thing, but the exercises are sometimes a little bit artificial to me, so maybe that's why, but no excuses, just a bad memory, I guess. Yeah, I'm starting to think that I must have missed something in this rook e3 line, and like I said, I hope I said that, but it's important to really to look for at the most progressive moves at first and check them properly. And so maybe I didn't check rook e3 properly. It seemed like it was the most promising of all the candidates. I didn't even mention king f4, but that leads to mate after queen f2 check, king g5, queen f6. Yeah. King h4. Only one move, very promising. Maybe there I can do a slow move. Queen f2 I looked at a lot. Queen e1, g3. You know what? I just had a really funny idea. I noticed I said that queen e1 didn't make a lot of sense because the e4 square is always protected by this d3 pawn. So maybe the solution could be that I need to just grab this pawn. And funnily enough, after rook e3 check, king h4, queen e1, g3 was the only move, since rook g3 was coming after queen g5, and after g3 there, what if I just play rook takes d3, threatening rook d4, but yeah, there's after queen e1, then if I play rook takes d3, then he has queen f4 check, but if I do it with queen f2, and then I play rook takes d3, again he has queen f4, since the pawn on g3 is now protecting his queen. Can I get the pawn on d3 without him getting in g3? I feel like I'm very close to getting this now, but I'm missing some idea. You know, normally also this process would probably go a little bit faster if I didn't speak, but I'm doing this also for the instructional value, which I hope you find useful. So I spotted a new idea now. Like I said, it's when you're calculating, you're just looking for resources. Patterns. Well, it's the same thing maybe, but I noticed that after G3, combining what I said earlier with G5, if I play Rook E5, I'm threatening G5, which is a serious threat there. Also, I'm preventing Queen F4 check, so it's a kind of slow move, but it's very powerful at the same time. So what if he plays Queen takes G7? I lost my concentration now. Where was I? This is difficult. Yeah, I was on Queen F2 check G3 and then Rook E5, Queen takes G7. Well, there's Queen D4 check there, and if he moves there's a pin. How do you say that when there's a there's a pin on his queen, but it's him pinning me, but it's to my benefit. Well, whatever. I'm threatening to move my rook with check and grabbing his queen there. G3, rook E5 takes, Queen D4 check. So bishop cannot play in between, and so he must play his queen in between. Forcing moves. Rook takes H5, King takes H5. Queen H8 check, King G5. No, it would be a perpetual at most, but I don't even think that I have a perpetual. But so many, I feel like I have found a lot of ideas relevant to the position. I just need to combine them now. But it's taking a long time, much longer than I thought. So looking through everything from the beginning again, trying to be more accurate. After in that line that I mentioned with rook e5, queen d4 check, he had to play queen g4 and then queen d8, and he's actually trapped there, so he has to move the queen in between. And you know, when again, I should really double check everything, but I've spent so much time looking at this variation, and this could be a case of me finally wanting to or seeing what I want to see rather than what is actually true on the board. But yeah, I've just spent so much time on this one now that I'm just gonna do it. So and I feel like that's kind of brilliant. So That's like a typical chess.com exercise. Kind of dangerous to think like this on there, since it maybe doesn't really apply to your real games in classical chess. So, but I'm not sure about that. So let's go now. So okay, how was the move order? Rook e3, king h4, queen f2 check, g3, and then there was rook e5, and I think the only move there was queen takes g7. But actually, I see now that even queen g6 probably has to be calculated. Queen d4, bishop g4. Queen d8. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, so rook e3, king h4, queen f2, g3, queen f6 check, queen g5, queen d4 check. Wait, there was rook e5 somewhere. So confusing. Rook e3, king h4, queen f2, g3, rook e5, queen takes g7, queen d4 check, bishop g4, queen d8. So queen g4, queen d8 again. Okay. I have a bad feeling now. Okay, so far all good. And now it was rook e5. Whew, everything's so good. And now I guess white is not putting up the best resilience now, so just g5. Or is there something better? No. Something better than rook takes. I don't want to miss like a mate or something and get the exercise wrong, but I don't think there's no mate here, right? Wait, queen d4? It's so typical of the chess.com exercises to have you fooled like that when you finally think you can just relax. You have something even better. Queen d4. If queen f4, queen d8 check, king g4. Nah, come on, that's not right, is it? Queen d1 check. So if he moves his king there, his mate, and if he plays queen f3. Come on, can I really not relax now? Queen d4, and what if bishop g4? Then I would have to take his queen, right? So come on, I'll just take this queen. Curse you if it's not right, chess.com. Okay, finally. No, so you see that's how it is for me, and obviously it would. Sorry if I didn't record this, but yeah, I just wanted to share my thought process with you every step along the way, and hopefully it's been helpful for some of you at least. So if you like this, please subscribe and post your whatever questions you may have in the comments down below, and I'll try to reply quickly. Okay, so thanks for now.